Now we'll start, of course, with politics and the elections. And the governing National Democratic Congress has rejected claims by its critics, particularly the main opposition New Patriotic Party, that the economy under the Mahama-led administration is worse off compared to previous administrations.
At a forum in Accra dubbed Setting the Record Straight, Transport Minister Fifi Kwete said the NDC's performance over the last 8 years is much better than that of the NPP under the Kufuor administration. The forum comes at the back of a lecture by the NPP running mate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, criticizing government over what it calls its poor handling of the economy. The NPP has put out a 170 point from that lecture challenging government to respond to Dr. Bawumia's claims. Well, in an apparent response yesterday, Fifi Kwete described the presentation by Dr. Bawumia as lazy analysis.
Incompetence is when a government sets a target of 4% budget deficit in 2008 and finishes the year at 15% deficit, missing the target by a massive 11%, and in the process recording the highest budget overrun in our history from 1983. That's incompetence. Incompetence is when a government sets out to build 4 major road projects called the Gang of 4, and that government doesn't even have a clue where the financing is coming from. That's what they call in the Bible deciding to build a mansion and you don't even have a clue where the money is coming from. That's NPP for you. Definition of incompetence. Incompetence is when the whole government gets scammed by a phantom IFC company and goes through the global humiliation of chasing non-existent $1 billion loan all the way into a hairdressing salon. That is the definition of incompetence. Incompetence is when the government sets up a whole ministry in charge of railways and still fails to deliver 1 centimeter of railway line. Actually, does worse, presides over a situation where some of the old lines that were being there before that government came started being sold as crap. That is the definition of incompetence. Incompetence is when a so-called economic guru praises the macroeconomic performance during the period of President Mills, while attacking the same President John Mahama for not handling the economy well from 2013 today, without even realizing that it's the same President John Mahama who was the head of the economic management team during the period 2009 to 2012. It is incompetence not to realize that.
Meanwhile, the minority MPP in Parliament is accusing the governing NDC of performing poorly in the development of the nation's roads.
Whilst touting the achievements of the erstwhile Kufuor administration, the party, among other things, accused the government party of owing contractors and adding less than 1% to the road network per year since it took office. Joy News' Maxwell Agbaba was at the news conference and has come through with the following report.
The press conference at the Job 600 is what the minority calls the true state of the nation's road network. The minority members accuse the NDC of doing little to improve Ghana's roads. The MP for Ejisu Kwabena Osei Duomi, who addressed the media, claims an amount of 184 million cedis for road finance project is owed contractors.
As at the end of July 2016, for road fund finance projects, the government owed 184.6 million Ghana cedis, while there existed an outstanding bill of 501.2 million Ghana cedis for roads projects financed from the Consolidated Fund. The government, as at the end of July 2016, expended 400.3 million Ghana cedis on road fund projects and not less than 598.6 million on the Consolidated Fund.
For the minority in Parliament, the state of the country's roads leave much to be desired, comparing the Kufuor administration on one hand and the Mills Mahama administration on the other. Mr. Osei Duomi accused the NDC of adding less than 1% to road construction over an 8-year period. Apart from road construction, the minority criticized the government for the poor state of roads due to what it says is poor maintenance.
The nation's road network has suffered the worst maintenance in the history of our country since the NDC-led administration took over in January 2009. Road maintenance, like the maintenance of all other infrastructure, is important and critical for the preservation of the huge capital investment the country has over the years made in the road infrastructure to facilitate the growth of the various sectors of the economy and reduce poverty. Maintenance of our roads, however, has since January 2009 been persistently poor, erratic, usually delayed, and of untimely interventions. It has been relegated to the background, and this neglect has resulted in the rapid deterioration of our roads.
For solutions, Mr. Uso Diomi charged government to pay up debt and concentrate on completion of all roads currently under construction.
The government ought to A, concentrate on the completion of the numerous road and bridge projects, over 2,000, ongoing by appropriately limiting award of new ones.
For Joy News, Maxwell Agbagba.
And a survey by policy think tank Imani Ghana says some Ghanaians are dissatisfied with the operation of some poverty alleviating agencies all set up by government.
The research found the majority of Ghanaians want the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority (SADA), Ghana Youth Employment and Entrepreneurial Development Agency (GIDA), as well as the Microfinance and Small Loans Center (MASLOC) completely scrapped. This was reviewed at a forum organized on Thursday to disseminate the findings of the report. Raymond Akwa was there and has come through with this report.
The survey sought to weigh the level of interest of prospective voters on matters of national importance and to highlight which issues Ghanaian voters are passionate about ahead of the December elections. A total of 10,030 respondents drawn from across the country were sampled for the survey. The issue of government expenditure featured prominently, with majority of respondents insisting it must be checked. On the call to discontinue some of these pro-poor policies, Senior Research Fellow at Imani Africa, Selon Brantier, said the respondents believe that this will end the spending of millions of taxpayers' money that could have been channeled into improving the lives of poor Ghanaians. The respondents instead are unanimous in their thoughts that the National Health Insurance Scheme, government free education policy, and school feeding programs should be continued.
I think that they saw it as one of the biggest examples of how corruption has tainted a very good initiative, and this is very instructive, especially when it comes to governance and the will for the government in power. Not just this government per se, but any government in power, to curb or look at redefining or reorganizing certain programs to reduce the amount of corruption that it is tainted with, as well as the mechanics around strengthening the transparency of quite a lot of these initiatives.
Selon Brantier was, however, hopeful that the various political parties will redirect their policies to suit the real needs of the people.
This week, world leaders meeting at the UN General Assembly in New York are focusing on how to fast-track the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs.
One component is the reduction of poverty in member states. To tell the story of what poverty among the poorest in Ghana looks like, we visited a community in the Ashanti region where abject poverty has forced some siblings to share school uniforms with each other just to acquire education. Joy News' Dorcas Bredu visited the Bedu family and reports the children have been sharing uniforms for a year now.
During the first year, Bedu, we go school from RC Primary A, regional JHS 1. You fair a primary, not me, Mishakano Pa, no, Russia, Quavia. Intimate or them, I die and point them, no, would school, nature, air training to your poem. No, me, now, ready, I'm no, would everyone saw die and your boss, and I'm the Mikado fee, and cause I'm a uniform, not brand, no, wash your school. If you some papa, we are feed you share squat away, we are sharing the other, a shamba, your poem, no one what you call, or buy and near boots you must see, near their hatter, and you want to use your son in your for that near their hatter them, and the batch now. Say, I'm quite in Quinnipen. If you say a squat, I will not continue quite in Quinnipen. fear quite book quite true quite anything tear quite and can you go pen. Ọmọ ọmọ mo yes kabadi ọmọ nko ọmọ na mo nko na yenye ni bi so ye na me nko guys ọmọ e ma me obi ọmọ ko mo nchen na mo tie nko mo nchen.
This family is one that represents the poorest of the poor in Ghana. 10-year-old Juliana Bedu loves education, but going to school is a daily headache. She doesn't only share her uniform, but has been sharing Faustina sandal for 3 months now since hers got spoiled. Their mother, Mrs. Bedu, says 7-year-old Gabriel and 5-year-old Nicholas both have to share the same uniform because she can't afford to buy another one. She's been living on a farm for almost a year because of harassment from debtors.
Aya tintiana nkulano adra na jobo 7 o'clock no mu kone na mwire mu bimpo na omasisa mu kwasisa na mwire mu no manya 80 no mu dia ba tidu ya da no makoton no mu dia togele mi de ni fie to ma koton a no mu dia togele treatment de school no ma to won ni je na kan me ja mu dia biso no mu din ka krenti me ba anadwo na ahomache no me ba na sagele ni kakre bi se de ba ya ombo no kono me ntimi bi sa kakra kwa no mu so tifi no mu so dididi plan so Moko school and family new home. This is a man of Jonah. Mangi from the Tata, Mayfi from Suba. Timama, me, Sama, Mayfi, about 5 o'clock, and I'm a quarter, about another 10. No, Biffy. A book I may call for more because she maybe a sister, maybe so more pee. You are ma, a frab baby, and children. 1 minute, I don't call me down with a PM destiny. No, use them in down. No, pushing me on a brano, a train, could baby. I said, I'm sorry, Miss Family, but we didn't come over.
It wasn't always like this. Things became tough for them after the death of their breadwinner, Mr. Bedu. Faustina, the eldest, says life was better for her when her dad was alive. She says her siblings sometimes go to school on an empty stomach.
School because I'm going to school be until my 12 years. The 12 years best I was only I'm going to school until I can't mamma because I'm not I can't crab in my and this I'll call you. The chair exams here I am from one hand, you say. In the name's Andy, remember my farm on China, Piper, Father, Bruce, and yes, I'm myself, Mr. About me, I get John, will be warm growing because of my catch on Papa, will be like a chance and Papa. You are Baby this time to be like a chance. Papa, when you say, that one on Papa, I see there, no o'clock crying. It goes quiet, no, but this first school morning, this cabaret, I will blow my scan. For quite from Crabasa for one mother share, said you dear. Number to squat a lemon be affibia,
Until this family gets support, the children will continue to share school uniforms, whilst their mother stay on the farm to prevent debtors from troubling her.
Oh, so that's a report by Ms. Boedu. Dorcas Boedu went to the Ashanti region, that very community, and spoke to the Bedu family, now led by the wife of the deceased Mr. Bedu. But we know that she has 4 children to support. And if you get to our Facebook page, Join Us on TV, you get to find that this very story has been uploaded there. It's got thousands of views. But that's what we can do to reach out to a lot more people. So if you can reach out to them, please make sure you touch base with us, give us your numbers and give us your support, and we'll get in touch with you, and we can also get in touch with the Bedu family.
Yes, and also on our Facebook page we've uploaded the details of the account you can send some money into, just in case you want to support this particular family. Really touching
and particularly
story.
How you can do it for the whole school year. It's not much of money. Whole school year you can pay a school fees. Somebody also can support with
the uniform
and perhaps some feeding, stipend or something for the year. It's not much for those in the rural community. That's a lot more. And you can also support the woman with the farming activities too. I guess if you have been graced, you should be happy that you are graced. But that's it for a lot more of the stories we have. We will also be looking at what the stories there are, front, back pages of the newspapers, the center spread, and then we'll go to the online portal.
Exactly. So we'll take a quick break now, but please don't go away. We'll be back shortly with the newspapers.